And let's let the man himself speak for himself. Let's see what we got.
Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you all about what my reason was for
His
getting
dirty laundry
suspended
is
on
out there.
Twitch, and also what my plans are going
So yeah,
forward.
he got suspended from
I'm going
Twitch.
to try and structure this video into two parts, where the first part is going to be me talking about the Twitch suspension, second part is going to be talking about myself. And
Lighting sucks, yes, because this is most likely a video he took with his phone, or he just got his camera and OBS and started recording without actually doing much. It sounds like he just went to Logitech G Hub and just clicked record from there, because the microphone is not very good either. I don't understand why he does this. He has a setup where he can do this. Like, if I'm gonna do a video myself, I'm gonna record a video myself, I'm gonna speak with my OBS setup. I'm gonna turn on the lights and everything. Who's this guy? This is Asmongold. Asmongold being one of the largest streamers in this platform, one of the largest YouTubers, one of the most legendary streamers, really big Twitch streamer, and he recently got suspended. So let's hear his side of the story.
And the first thing I want to start off with is something that I know it might sound a little bit insincere because of how ridiculous this is, but I really mean it, and if you listen to the whole video,
he's very often over the top,
I hope you can see why. Everybody who's come and spoken out and talked to me and said stuff about me, you know, aside from the, oh, you should kill yourself or something like that, I want to say that I really appreciate you. And
really don't know him?
I think this has been something that's a long time coming.
Okay, so before that, if you don't know him, he's a very man of the people type of person. He is the gamer that speaks mostly like a gamer. His mentality is that of a gamer. And he is a very good representation of a lot of gamers in both good ways and bad ways. He has built a very big community. He has built a bunch of successful businesses so far. Steak and Eggs, OTK, Starforge. So he's an average Joe kind of streamer. He doesn't mince his words, and he got into trouble for that. And it's the first time I've actually seen him, anybody has seen him come forward and making an apology video. So now that they all fired, did he actually fire him? I don't think they fired him. He owns these businesses. Let's see.
And I actually
haven't watched
think
it, so
that
let's
this is
see.
something that not only I deserved, but it's also something that I needed. And I want to talk about what the reason for that is, but I want to start off and just make sure that that's actually very clear. So a couple of days ago, I made some comments about Palestine and also about Hamas and, you know, some just general, you know, basically opinions that were trivializing the genocide that's happening there.
I'm going to interrupt now. So you see his side of the story. He started speaking about Hamas. He started talking about religious extremism, and then he lumped off everything. I personally, if you've been in the channel, I disagree with the assessment that this is a genocide. I believe it's far worse, because I believe the war is between Israel and Hamas, and the innocent people of Palestine are being caught in the crossfire as collateral damage, and that is a hell of a lot worse, because that's not even intended, and it shows that at this point Israel no longer cares, or no longer cares enough. And different set of bad nonetheless. I don't think I'm trivializing this. I just don't think we cannot draw enough parallels between what is happening to the Palestinians and what is happening to the Uyghur Muslims. We cannot. What is happening to the Uyghur Muslims is a genocide. We know this at this point. For those of you who don't know it, it's a genocide that has been happening in China for quite some time for Asian Chinese Muslims, and they have been slowly dwindling down. What Israel is doing is war, and people got too used to what the Americans do in war. Americans have done warfare extremely cleanly, all things considered. American wars since World War II, since Vietnam, have been very, very clean, with very minimum casualties. And now with Ukraine and with Palestine, we are seeing what war and how horrifying and how devastating it truly is. Again, I personally don't believe it's a genocide. I believe it's far worse. Because at least with genocide, there would be intent. And at this case, it's just complete, almost reckless disregard from Israel's part. They are tired of Hamas, and they're trying to if there's a genocide going on, it's against Hamas. That I can completely concede to. They want to eradicate them from the face of the earth, and they're taking the John Cena's character, Pacemaker. They don't care how many men, women, and children they need to kill to achieve it at this point. And that I consider to be, it's still crimes against humanity, the way they're carrying themselves out, but it's war. They've gone fuck it mode. Yeah, let's continue.
And I don't really want to like mince words or like try to like, oh, I wasn't justifying or, you know, promoting it. I said something about it that was disgusting. I said that I didn't care about innocent people getting killed by another force, by anything. And I think that that's a horrible, disgusting, mean-spirited thing to say.
I am going to interrupt right here because I watched the clip. It's not a horrible thing to not care. It was horrible the way he said it. He went and basically the way he went on his tirade basically implied that he believes they deserve him. They deserve it. Of course, he's making a 20-minute video now to clarify that he doesn't believe that. You are entitled to not care about something, even if it is a major issue. You are completely within your right to not care. Even if, because horrible things happen to wonderful, innocent people every single day. The world is a brutal place, and it's a horrible place, and it's a beautiful place, and it's a wonderful place, and you cannot care about every single thing every single time. You are well within your right to not care about something. This guy went overboard describing it and discussing it. I don't know how much I just know both sides of the war have bad people and innocent people get caught in the crossfire, so anyone who has a strong opinion is just biased, of course. And, you know, you call it the crossfire. It is the what I said, collateral damage. And the problem is that collateral damage is often used to dismiss civilian casualties, and people forget how truly, horrifyingly just despicable and disgusting and just tragic and devastating collateral damage truly is. And that is something that right now, because we saw it with the Ukraine war, people were saying that the Russians were genociding innocent Ukrainians when Russia was attacking Kharkiv and Kiev, when no, the Russians were attacking innocent civilians in an act of war. That's an act of war. That's very different. It's still a horrible thing to do. It's just a different type of horrible. Yes, Primal, I'm watching it now because I was going to watch it during work, but then I remembered I wanted to watch wrestling instead, so I watched wrestling instead of this. Salvare, welcome to today. Yeah, let's continue. We're a minute 30 seconds in, and I'm already off the rails, so let's go.
And I don't necessarily think that it was really racist, really. But when I'm using language like Palestinians or like the people there, rather than what my real language was, I've always been very outspoken and very against religious extremism. And I still am.
How you doing, Brian,
I
by the way?
think that any religion
okay.
and any way of thinking that's going to cause you to put other people in like kind of positions below you as like, you know, like gay people, women, people with disabilities, anything like that, I think that that's a really bad position to have, and I really don't like that. And I think that my problem
Jake.
And my fault here was that
I'm sorry. Jake, future sex tape. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the mosh pit. You look like the dude who sold me Fent. I am very sorry to hear that. That's hilarious. Doing better. Don't want to scratch my skin off anymore. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. Today is basically Friday for me because tomorrow I'm taking the day off and tomorrow I'm going to Vienna. So, yeah, was it a good deal? I don't care. Like, I look like many people, and this is the first time I've been called a Fent dealer, so I love it. Jeppy, welcome to today. We're watching the Asmongold apology video. And again, he is very outspoken. Yes, we're talking about it today because we didn't do it yesterday. And of course, he released the video after the stream yesterday, so there you go. And the thing that he's made very clear is that he always speaks out against religious extremism, which perfectly fair. I saw the clips. I don't have them pulled up. I probably should have. And basically, he starts off going off about how Sharia law is a barbaric, backward system incompatible with Western culture, and that goes against Western values and what we stand for. And then, I guess he either gets provoked, he gets worked up, whatever it is, and he made the comments about the innocent Palestinians because he once again ended up conflating the two. I think the big issue that was highlighted here is that Asmongold has spent a lot of time speaking to online people and random chatters, and he has spent a lot of time being extremely mean and extremely rude and extremely aggressive against random chatters mainly. He doesn't really have proper conversations outside of like steak and eggs, which is already, you know, his friends. He doesn't really engage too much in conversation with random people, and whenever he does, it's usually in a position to highlight them, to humiliate them, or to ban them, right? So it's a lot of, I think it's a very, very important lesson for him to learn that yes, you can make comments, but one, you need to be careful about what you say. You need to think very carefully about everything that you say. You need to be very carefully about how you communicate. Not because of the things that you say, but because you have a lot of eyes on you. And just the things you say, the way you say things, and the way things come across are very, very much scrutinized, especially if you're somebody with a channel this stature. I'm not going to say he has a responsibility, a social responsibility, or anything like that, because I personally don't believe there is a moral duty in terms of you're a popular person and therefore you have a moral duty to carry out a certain political opinion. I don't agree with that. But what I am going to say is that you are a public figure, and everything you say will be scrutinized very, very thoroughly, and people with bad intentions might take things out of context, and in this case they didn't need to. You painted yourself into this corner. You got carried away. You made this mistake, and he has recognized it. And I hope he recognizes that this is because of how disconnected he has been, because he has been fairly disconnected in terms of how to talk to other people and about other people. So, you know, there's he doesn't really have face-to-face communication. He doesn't have that kind of genuine thorough conversation, because he's used now to talking to his thousands of chatters every single moment, right? So it happens. And right now we have we have less than 10 people in my chat, and I'm having a really difficult time following up with every message. So yeah, he went overboard. He didn't catch himself. He was not filtering. He doesn't filter out what he says enough. And now we are seeing, because what he said were his genuine opinions at the time. And then he realized, because he's made it very clear, he realized that's not a good thing to say. That's a fucked up thing to say, man. I probably shouldn't have said that. That's a very horrible thing to say. Not because of what he said, but because of how he said it and how he conflated things. So he visited us all. That told him he has been becoming an asshole lately. Yeah, I think he mentions that because I watched the first 3 minutes or something, and then I went to sleep yesterday. So someone disagrees with him is one-click ban. And the problem is that a lot of people online, and the very difficult part about chatting via text is that it's very easy to misread somebody's tone with text, because there is no indication of tone in text format. It's very difficult to be able to discern somebody's tone. And in his case, he's a very cynical person in many senses. So he just assumes that somebody chatting is chatting in bad faith, and therefore gets the ban, even if it's not deserved. So let's continue.
I was making a criticism of religious extremism, and I made no effort And I feel like almost I've rewatched
Exactly,
the clip,
D-Hops, exactly.
right, or a number of the clips, and it's like I've almost made an effort not to draw a distinction between the two things. I think that a lot of us here can easily say that we're against religious extremism, and I am. But whenever I categorize everybody in the
Yep, he ended
area
up conflating
as this like group, then I'm the asshole, and I was the asshole. I had a lot of you guys tell me that. And it's taken me, this is what's so crazy about it, is that I think this has been going on now for like 2 years. I think
That's where you're wrong, kiddo. Okay. My gut reaction when I first saw the clip of him going off like this was, yes, that's Asmongold, the guy famous for being a piece of shit asshole to anyone and everyone who says piece of shit things, asshole. Like, don't get me wrong. I really admire this guy. I respect him. But he is the piece of shit asshole who doesn't care about anything. He doesn't even care about himself. He says himself, he has a moral compass, it just doesn't point north. And people are mad that he said a piece of shit asshole thing to say. That was my initial reaction. Then I watched the clip again and I was like, it's not that you said a piece of shit asshole thing, it's that you were stupid about it. That you ended up getting carried away, you got way too emotional, because he got way too emotional about it. And he ended up conflating things and saying he might not even have meant it the way he did, but it's how it came across. And that was the important part. So
think that I've been slowly
he generalized,
devolving into the most mean-spirited, I don't really even know what the word is for it. Just like the most mean-spirited, rude, like nasty.
Okay, I want to address this one. One thing I don't understand why people get so worked over a random gamer having a controversial opinion, because this guy is no longer a random gamer with a controversial opinion. This guy is the random gamer with controversial opinions who also runs multiple businesses and runs organizations, runs podcasts. He has a media empire, basically. He has his own media business. He's a public figure, and people are scrutinizing him. He is the random gamer asshole who became a public figure. And it's like, and people will be trying to find anything to take this guy down. Like, the amount of times people tried canceling this guy, insane. And this time, merited. Very merited. Because he went overboard. He went overboard, not because of what he said, but because how he conflated things and how they came across. So he's no longer random, yeah. Asmon's takes either pretty good or pretty bad. Yeah, like he's a person, so yeah, whenever something requires more empathy, yeah, because he isolates a lot. He is fairly disconnected from many things. Like, whenever it comes to gaming, to consumer rights, and things like that, he is very much on point. Once he starts talking about a bit more political, or, again, as you said, more things that require a bit more empathy or sympathy or more understanding of how a human being operates, he will have a higher likelihood of not succeeding. And we have seen that, and we are seeing it here, and we saw it here, which landed him a 14-day, I think it was 14 days, right? 14-day suspension from Twitch. Let me see. This time they got him. Yeah, if you have an influencer this level, it's political by default, and everyone who thinks you're a threat will be waiting for his chance. Exactly, and Asmon is one of the people that does not bend the knee. He never bent the knee until now, I guess. We'll see. Because we're 3 minutes in out of 20 minutes. I mean, for the average person, it's like, oh, he has something stupid, I don't like him anymore, right? But for other people, it's the biggest deal in the world. That's what I understand. It's because there are activists out there waiting to bite into this. As I said earlier, right? You are entitled to not care about something. And not caring about something is the most offensive thing you can do to an activist. And he very much said himself that he doesn't care. He came out and said, I don't care what happens to these people. That's what he said. He said he doesn't care what happens to the innocent Palestinians who are getting killed. He ended up conflating this with his talk about Sharia law, with his talk about Hamas, which ended up coming across as him saying that he believes that because the innocent Palestinians would be the equivalent of Sharia and Hamas, therefore he doesn't care because they deserve it. That's kind of how it ended up coming across. And that's a very horrible thing to say. Because in general, you're allowed to not care about what happens in Israel and Gaza. You're allowed to not care. It's a big issue for a lot of people. But if you are in Australia or in some random other place where this is not happening and you are not directly affected by it, you are allowed to not care. It's not the nicest thing to do, but at the same time, people don't care about what is happening in South Sudan. People don't care about what is happening in Yemen. People don't care about what is happening in, was it Libya? I think Libya was going, it was either Libya or Liberia, one of the two that is going through other turbulent times, about the constant wars in the Congo, about the constant conflicts in the other parts of the Middle East, about, I don't know, the insane poverty in Southeast Asia, in India, these kinds of places. There are a lot of very horrible things that are happening in this world right now. And you, as a single person, do not possess enough cognitive capacity to even be informed about all of them and conduct yourself in your day-to-day. Therefore, you are allowed to not care about many of these issues. You are perfectly within your right to not care. You can choose to not care. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is when you come across as this guy. Yeah, we saw him being taken out of context, and it wasn't even out of context. Within context, it was a horrible thing to say. I saw the clips, and within the context, it was just a horrible thing to say because of how he ended up structuring his statements. This was a massive, it could have been a miscommunication, but he didn't draw the distinctions. He just went off. And the problem is, he went off the rails, landed us here. If you're in Eastern Europe, you most likely care much more about Ukraine. Yeah, I'm in Hungary, and I don't really care that much anymore. Like, it's one of those things that I got used to it. It's not that I don't care about it, it's that I got used to it. Because if you are constantly tormented by something, that's not good, man. I want to be fair, Asmongold quite often oversimplifies things while talking, mainly because he talks about stuff all day. Yeah. And I can't blame him for oversimplifying. I can blame him for not being careful about what he says, for not noticing and not paying attention. But then again, I am somebody who knows how to speak. Like, anyone can talk. Not everyone knows how to speak. I've spent the last 10 years of my life crafting how I speak. And not because I want to put on some sort of mask or anything, but because I want to be as efficient and as clear as I can when communicating with other people. I am thinking very carefully about everything that I have to say, and I'm thinking about everything I say as I speak, so that I don't end up miscommunicating. I don't know how to speak. There you go. All right, let's continue.
This psychopathic version of myself. I think that I've been devolving into this. And a lot of my friends have told me this. My dad has told me this. He said, you've got to chill out. You've got to calm down. I've been like, oh, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. And I've finally had some level of accountability for that. And thank God. I look back at some of the things that I've said and done over the past 2 years, and I don't think that I've been wrong about everything, obviously, right? But there have been ways that I've communicated and ways that I've acted that are indefensible. And I think looking back on it, it's just disgusting. And it's something that when you get lost in the sauce and you get fixated around like listening and reading feedback and just getting hyper fixated, this is like your entire life, you lose a perspective on reality, and you lose a perspective on the world. And I think that perspective was brought into perspective yesterday and the day before, when I was making comments like this. And I feel I feel so stupid. It's crazy. So I'm getting all these people making negative comments toward me. Everybody is telling me like, oh, go kill yourself. I hate you. Everything like this.
Well, you get that anyway. So.
Do you know who reached out to me? And they wanted to talk and have a conversation and see if I was okay. It's people that were Islamic and people that had fucking family in Palestine. And how humiliating is that? How absolutely humiliating is that? And these were...
Okay. I don't know how to feel about that. But very important thing to keep in mind. Like, I'm not interrupting because of what he's saying. It's a good thing that he got a splash of perspectives thrown in his face. But most importantly, I want to point out one thing about Asmon right now. That seems odd. It can be. One of the problems with, say, Sharia is that you are allowed to lie to the Khafir, and that you are allowed to mistreat the Khafir, to manipulate the Khafir into the Khafir being the non-believers and the non-religious, and you're allowed to basically say and do whatever is necessary to either get them to convert or to eradicate them, so to speak. One thing I do want to point out about Asmon recently, he has been getting a lot of life-changing, life-altering things happening. He has started taking care of himself, and now he's going to start taking care of what he says. Something very important. I am of the opinion that you are a product of your environment, and I want you to take 5 seconds to look at this man's environment. It's not a good environment. It's not productive. It's not conducive to a healthy life. He knows it. And he's known it for a very long time. I guarantee you that now that he's starting to take care of himself, now that he's going to start taking care of what he says, he's going to notice that he needs to clean up the place. He's starting to clean up his life. He's going to start cleaning up his house. He's going to start actually doing something about it. Because eventually he's going to notice that you are a product of your environment and your environment is a product of you. And this is going to be a very, very important crossroads for him, because he's going to have to make a lot of sacrifices in order to become healthier, not just in body, but also in mind. And if you are, like, of the faith in spirit as well. Let's continue.
The people I was trying to say were
gonna upload this to YouTube, by the way.
I feel like such a fucking stupid asshole. I really do. I've always been I guess like I've always been kind of like an atheist, and even as a young kid I was raised Roman Catholic, and I was always very defiant towards it. And I've always had a negative opinion of religion, and I've also had a negative opinion of religious cultures. And I think that opinion is definitely shaped by the media that I've created, and the media I've created for myself, and then also just the media that exists.
Okay, I want to point out what Primal said here. I remember the time when people from Islam reached out to me, they wanted to convert me to their beliefs. I don't expect it immediately that it is the case here, but I just got reminded of it. There is a good chance that these were genuinely good people. I'm going to say it is most likely that it was a bunch of good people who saw the hatred he's getting, the vitriol he's getting, and that extended an olive branch saying, brother, this is not your fault. It's not your fault that you don't care. We can help you understand why it matters to us, and we understand what it's like to be ignorant about an issue. We have empathy for that kind of thing. I think that is most likely what happened. I want to believe that is most likely what happened, and perhaps there were some bad actors in there. Most likely it was just good people, because if there's one thing that most religious people will have, is that in a time of crisis like this, a spiritual or religious person will very often extend an olive branch. They will offer the perspective, and they will offer to have a kind conversation, a kind-hearted conversation. Not all of them, but there's going to be a good chunk. And I believe that, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened here. And that gave him another dose of perspective. You know that The generalizations are like that. Asmongold, like many people, and listen only when things go very wrong. Yeah, he started talking about himself, might even open himself to vegetables and better diet because he had a hospital scare. Now that having serious health issues becomes a reality, he will understand that his stance, I would rather die than eat healthy, was not good. Yeah. He is getting a lot of very harsh lessons. And, they usually come later rather than sooner, unless you choose to heed the warnings, and he didn't heed the warnings, and now we are seeing a natural conclusion of these things. I can see that also good-hearted people reached out. Yes, religious people being reasonable, understanding. I have not seen much of that. I understand what you're saying because I understand from my own experiences in the Catholic Church. And I can also tell you that there are religious people, and you're making the same type of generalization that this man was making. That because there is religion, that there is unreasonable. So, it's the same type of closed-mindedness that this man had. Well-founded, to an extent, I would say. Because yes, there's a lot of people that give a very bad name to every single belief system and philosophy out there. Every single belief is tainted by the bad actors. Hashtag not all. Let's continue.
The media that I've chose to seek out as well. And I think that media has allowed me to have certain predispositions and certain biases that the truth is that don't have any sort of relation to what my own real life has been experienced. Or my own real life experience has been, excuse me. And so I've been spending a lot of time talking to those people, and I've seen people like fans of mine,
so
like I have viewers messaging me on Discord,
there you go.
Like, why are you saying this? Like, do you want to talk? Do you want to I'm willing to talk to you, and let's try to work this out, right? We love you. And I scrolled up on their messages, and these are people that messaged me in like 2016, 2017, 2018, like, I love your content, I love your stream, I love you, right? And now they get to hear this from me, and I just feel like such a stupid, belligerent fucking asshole. I really do. And I'm sorry. I really am. I think that it's extremely fair to criticize religious extremism, and I think that it's extremely unfair to categorize everybody in part of that group as religious extremists.
And that's the clarification we needed.
It is, and I'm really sorry for that. I've just been a fucking dick.
Holy shit, dude. We need to frame this moment. But it goes back to he got the dose of perspective. He got to see people that showed him love. Unironic, almost unconditional. People that have respected and admired, and that genuinely admire and love what he does. That love the content that he produces. Because he's an entertaining guy. He's a very entertaining guy. And they got to see him basically spitting vitriol back in their general direction. Not at them specifically, but in their general direction. And they remained... I understand, dude. You feel that way, and got nothing... it's not... I know you didn't mean about me, man. I still love your content, kind of thing. So, yeah. And yes, that Slayer, I went, not all. That was the joke. So, tonality and text is always difficult to guess. So many people... Yeah, and we were just talking about that, right? Like, it's very difficult to discern tone. And I went off of JP because of that. So, there you go.
And It's
he never
weird
denied being a dick, no.
Yesterday,
but he's apologizing for it.
I didn't know if I was going to get suspended or not. And I had planned on streaming and everything. And I actually got a text message from one of my mods. They said, "Oh, I heard about the suspension. I'm sorry." And I was like... I remember I was like driving, and like, you'd think that like your heart rate would go up, but if anything, I felt more relaxed.
Yeah, he finally saw how going overboard is.
I had a moment to just take a
step back
and breathe, and think for myself, and just stop. Just like get out of my own head.
He finally found the line that he knew she...
Like just writing basically
He finally found the line that he knew he didn't want to cross. Because that's something he's always been. He's always been pushing the line. He's always been seeing what lines he can cross and what lines he wants to cross. And he finally found the line that he doesn't want to cross. And after this, he's realized in retrospect that he crossed a lot of lines. Whose line is it? God damn it. Just continue.
List of all of these things that like I think that I should be doing with my life, and this is going to be kind of the
it was
second
very
part,
genuine.
by the way, of the video. Comments that I made were pretty much about religious extremism. I think it's bad, but I've categorized a lot of people in that way that was unfair. It's wrong for me to have done that. I said something that was bad. I should not have said that. I should have chosen my words more carefully. I didn't do that. I doubled down on it. I shouldn't have. I'm sorry. That's pretty much. I was a fucking asshole. I was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. And
I appreciate that he's just being very straightforward about it. He built up his case because he has proceeded by building up, giving his train of thought, giving his perspective on what was going on. He did the apology. This has to be probably the best apology video I've ever seen, because he's taking full accountability for what he has said, for what he has done. He needs the ukulele, though. He must be an asshole, but I don't think he wants to engage in genuine hate and that kind of rhetoric. Like, he usually is he tends to act like an asshole in the cynical way. He's a cynic. He doesn't believe you first time. He has a very pro-consumer stance. He wants to just play video games, have fun, watch other people's content, analyze things. He doesn't really hold, and you can tell, he doesn't really hold any particular hatred towards any particular group of people. He just feels, for example, he feels repulsed by, for example, the rainbow bullies, that kind of people who, you know who I'm talking about. It's not gay people, it's not LGBT people. It's the activists within that are venomous and poisonous, that just instill nothing but hatred. He's got that revulsion against them, but I wouldn't say it's much hatred that he has always put, so much as an aversion to those people. He's very wary of them, and he stands against them because he believes that it's a hateful ideology that they carry around. That it's people that have co-opted a movement, that have co-opted demographics and all that kind of stuff. I never once thought of this man as being some sort of bigot. I've never really seen anything that would indicate this guy is some sort of like hardline bigot. That kind of thing. I think the video that pissed me off is him saying he's going to visit Istanbul because he wants to see how Muslim countries do. I mean, Turkey is more on the secular side. That is true. You're not calling it Constantinople for a reason. I am not apologizing for that. The activists and extremists make probably a minority in those groups are the ones we hate, because the ones that do the most bad things, yeah, they're bad actors. Because these are not because I make a very clear distinction between, say, LGBT people, or I like to summarize them as the gay, and rainbow bullies, the alphabet mafia. The alphabet mafia are the ones pushing for policy and for legislation. The gay just want to live their lives. I just find the term "the gay" funny, but you know, it's just a way to summarize all the people who are just people who happen to be. So, yeah, it's so sad. A secular country. Turkey is being seen as an Islamic Middle East country now. The country was founded by Ataturk over 6 golden rules, and one of them was lacism. There you go, yeah. Extremists are often the reason why people speak out. The issue is the generalization of how they convey the information, which often causes those, well, to see right here what happened. Exactly. Having real situations because of politicians using Islam as a tool to create fanaticism, of course. There's better places to see how Sharia law and Islamic people are down there at South. Yes, but Asmongold wants to go to one of the places where he can go and live. Like, make it out and live through it and make it out of there alive. Which Turkey is one of those places. It's one of those places that you can go in, you can have a nice trip, you can go to Istanbul, you can have, like, I think it's kebab. You call it kebab there, right? Or shawarma. I think it's kebab. You call it kebab there. Because it's gyros, kebab, shawarma. It always has a different name, right? Mediterranean tacos. And you go have a Mediterranean taco. You go, gaze at the architecture. And then you come back home. You're not going to get that in Afghanistan. He also mentions Dubai, which is genuine. Dubai is an Islamic country as well, but it's not sure. But it's one of the. It's not Wahhabist, basically. It's not Wahhabist. It's the type of Islam that has always been in conflict with the Wahhabists, and I always mix up the Sunnites with the Shiites. I always mix up which one is which, but it's the one that is far more civilized, evidenced by Dubai. So. Person keep it bald, shaving since 21 years old. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. Imagine getting a haircut. I really need to get a haircut. My hair is reaching way too low. Anyway, let's continue.
So, actually, I do know what else to say. I don't like making apologies because I think words don't matter. But I do think changed actions and changed behaviors do.
Yes.
And so you can take my apology as hopefully better content. And if you're not seeing that, I want you to hold me accountable. Hopefully this time I won't be stupid enough to ignore it.
The best apology is changed behavior, 100%.
Mouth is pretty dry.
This guy...
Anyway,
no shit.
So the second part about this is that I want to talk a little bit about like my life, my personal life,
like the way he said better content?
and kind of
where his mind is at.
That I think that I've kind of gone through to get here. So the main thing is that for the past, I would say 10 years or so, if you look at my life like this, I would have said 10 years ago or maybe 8 years ago, streaming was like this, right? YouTube was like this.
It's a very small bubble.
And now I would say that my life and streaming are basically the exact same size. And what I mean by that is that streaming is my entire life. Doing this is my entire existence. And I think that the process of that has been
kind of sad,
extremely unhealthy for me.
Yeah.
And I think that what it's done is that it's allowed me to become such a one-dimensional person that I'm not even a person anymore. It's like I'm in Dark Souls, I'm going hollow or something. And I think about all the,
At least he didn't make a World of Warcraft comparison, okay? At least he didn't draw a comparison to that. Watch me on pause and him saying it. I don't like the way he said better content. Look, he is aware of the mistake he's made. He's not going to be able to change his entire being overnight. Simple as that. Difficult to say. Oh yeah, that's not to me. Certain point, streaming turns into a hobby at work, then from work to torture. Kind of like that. I enjoy it, but I also have a full-time job. I do my own music. I rest and everything, so it's kind of different for me right now because I have a bit more world to my streams, I guess. I don't know how to put it. Let's continue.
I made a list of all of the things that I'm not doing in my life that I should be doing, and I was writing it down, and I'm I'm just going and going and going. I'm like, oh my god, I think it'd be shorter if I transcribed the Bible. This is insane. Whenever I have everything written down line for line, it's like, oh my god.
He had a moment of self-reflection. There you go.
I've been existing, and I want to, at a certain point, actually try to live my life. And I don't think that I've been doing that. And so what am I going to do? How am I going to do that differently? And what does that mean for my stream, etc.? I think that I'm going to cut down a little bit on streaming quite as much. And
Good.
I think I'm also going to cut down... This is going to sound like... I hope I can say this in the right way. I feel like the main times that I laugh on my stream nowadays are when I'm laughing at other people.
Yes.
And I look back on videos that I did from 2020, 2016, and 17, and yeah, I've always been an asshole, but holy shit, I've been way more of an asshole.
Worse, yes.
It's insane. And it's a night and day difference. And I've had, again, everybody in the world telling me this, including my own dad, and I've just ignored them. And finally, it's like, you know what? Maybe I'm an asshole. Maybe this is too far. Maybe I need a course correction.
Okay.
Which is why I think that getting suspended in this...
I didn't know YouTube did that.
I hope that it's one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
In that sense, number one, This is one of the best. I don't know which band phrase. It could have been that Twitch ate your message because I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing it from my end. I'm not seeing it from my end. Asmongold is one of the rare internet people that I would stand with. Normally, I don't support any popular streamers, but he's genuine and talks problems out. Like he's being very genuine here. You can tell there is no script. There was no thought at all put into this. He just said, "I need to apologize." He turned on his camera and he started talking about what he did wrong. He's taking accountability, and you can hear it. This guy spent a day just thinking about this very carefully thinking he needs a course correction. And the fact that his solution is to cut down on the things he's finding are damaging him is a very good indication, because he has recognized what has been causing him harm, that caused him to cause perceived harm. I personally think the comments themselves are awful. He didn't incite no one to do something. He just had a shit opinion. He had a really bad take that came across really badly. I personally still don't see 100% that what he said was either unexpected of him, but he is recognizing that he has become a bit of a diva in the past few years, because, you know, he is the Asmongold, he is the streamer, he is the gamer guy, he is the guy, he is the man, and he's coming to realize that he probably is not. So let's see, feels more grounded around other people face to face or contact. Yeah, let's see. I'm not a fan of Asmongold content, but he is genuine. He's very genuine, yeah. Like, I like his opinions, because he is just very genuine about everything. House cleaning stream for a week on. I think he's just gonna hire someone to do it. That's what I do. I have budgeted in my month $50 to just hire the cleaning person to come over and clean this fucking place for me. I do my own laundry. I wash my own dishes. I hire someone to clean for me, because I'm not gonna do that. I know I'm not going to do that. I can afford it, so I'm going to do it. I'm just going to hire someone. Let's see. As an actually good person, want to be fun around. I just think the persona on the internet grew something that overlooked it. I think his persona and his person, with how much he spent online and streaming, started blurring. The lines started blurring. And because most streamers will have to put up a persona, the lines blurred very much. Because in my case, I am just being me. Asmon had to hold himself back. So the persona he's putting is to an extent a mask. Because yes, he's being genuine, he's being a lot of stuff, but he knows he was around during the Call of Duty days, during the Modern Warfare 2 days, like Modern Warfare 2 first iteration. How many racial slurs do you think this man has yet? Oh, he's talked about the amount of racial slurs and the amount of shit things he's done and said. I think the persona he puts up is restraining himself, and he's come to realize that he's better than this. He is better than this, and the line has blurred to an extent that it's starting to bleed into his personal life. Although I thought those plushies were in my room for a little. I think it's because of the angle. Because I'm using a green screen and everything, so I can see why you would think I have plushies. I don't. I have one pillow, a smaller pillow from an older couch. I don't count the pillows on the couch because those are my landlord's couch, so I don't. It's like a sofa bed, and that's it. I don't have anything else like that. So, Asmon's viewership also changed quite a bit, to be honest. He used to be more gaming-centric, but now it's comment sections on YouTube card. Yeah, he's become a lot more general, especially now that he does a lot more reactions and everything, so. I need to get James some plushies. I don't have space for plushies, dude. Like, hell, I don't even have space in this room for my drinking horn collection, which I miss having in the background. I miss having my drinking horns in the background, but there's just not enough space in this room. Like, one day I'm gonna get a proper room, we're gonna get a big enough room, and you're gonna have my drinking horns in full display, dude, because I have like 6 Let's continue.
And I don't know whether that's going to be true, but I'm going to try to do things differently and
Go ahead,
make sure to
Good to
live
see
up
you,
to
man.
that reality. And so, what are those things that I'm going to be doing differently? The first thing is that I think I'm going to try. I've been very much trying to like maintain a consistent schedule with my stream, and I will continue to do that. I want to get up and go to bed at relatively the same time. I want to live a normal life, and also I want to spend maybe a little bit less time streaming, and I want to spend more time creating my own videos and doing my own things, and spending time on things that I really enjoy, and basically just like expanding my existence as a person. I think that ever since I started like OTK and I got involved with that, and then we had like other Starforge and like Mad Mushroom and Mythic and everything, like honestly it's been too much for me to handle. It's been completely too much for me to handle, and I've been losing my mind dealing with it, and I try to hide it the best I can, because I try to do the best, right? I try to do my best. I it doesn't matter how hard it gets, you just keep going, it doesn't matter, and eventually it does
very
matter.
Few people actually listen to what others have to say.
I've negatively affected a lot of them, and I also don't want to talk about that just in the context of just like this recent controversy. I want to talk about this in the context of the last 2 years.
So he wants to start living a more normal life. There's a lot of work you got there, bud. It's not impossible, it's just going to be very difficult. Asmongold focusing himself means he will finally continue and finish that Cyberpunk playthrough he started last year. He loved that game, but got distracted and didn't come back to it. I did notice that most of his content recently has been him reacting to other people's content. And people say he doesn't play games because he leaves that for the stream portion of the games. But he spends most of his time talking about other people, talking about other people's work. And I do appreciate that he's starting to do this. I don't know if you're going to ever see this, Asmon, but if you are, here's a suggestion for something that you can do that does wonders for you as a person, that you genuinely could enjoy, that helps you grow. Learn how to cook for someone else. Learn how to cook a dish that you can serve to a lot of other people. Learn a dish. Just learn how to make fried rice, learn how to make some pasta, something nice. I started doing braised beef for my office. The joy of serving others, the fulfillment you get from serving others and seeing that you are doing this not for yourself but for other people, it is a very, very good perspective to get. I highly recommend it. I miss cooking for other people, man. I haven't done it in like a month and a half. And I'm starting to miss it, because it's such a good experience. It's such a good experience. Respect the farm. This is some solid games like Cyberpunk. There you go. I have my own cookbook from Family Recipes. I made my own. My dad. Oh, nice. I don't know what pierogi. No, I don't know what pierogi is, but having your own cookbook from Family Recipes is really good. I should start my own. I should start documenting my own recipes as well.
I think that I haven't really been able to fulfill my responsibilities as a leader in a lot of cases to them, and I think that I've let a lot of people down. And there have been things that I've done that are positive as well, but I think that one thing this thing has taught me, this whole situation has taught me, it's made me realize, is that I need to get myself in check. I need to get my mind.
What am I going to do? Is cooking streams when we get the new camera?
Like, just get my life to...
It's not baby oil.
Fucking life. Like, it's insane. Like, I think about it and it's in shambles. Everything about my life is basically fucked. And I'm going to take a step back from all of that. I'm going to step away from my leadership position and OTK and Starforge and everything. I want to, and they're fine with that. They respect that, and I want to do this. And I want to do this not only for them, but mainly for myself, so I can be a better version of myself for everyone. And I want to apologize to all you guys, my viewers, that I don't think I've lived up to that. I think
that part is irrelevant. The fact that he wants to improve himself. I applaud this. The fact that he's letting go of a lot of stuff that he's doing, and chances are it's for the better. Like, they're gonna figure out somebody else to lead OTK, somebody else to lead up Starforge, somebody who's a bit more efficient at these kind of things. This man has had this coming for a long time. It's about time this man cleaned up his life, and I'm really happy that he is. What's odd is he isn't the only one in OTK who said to say something controversial, and it never is. The problem is that this time it was the controversy was merited. That, I think, is a takeaway, and he realized it, and it made him look back, and it made him realize that he really this, along with the medical scare and a few other things, have made him realize that there's a lot of work to do on himself that he has neglected for a very long time. He's paying the price for it now, and he's acting upon it. I'm looking forward to what this man is going to look like in 1 year. I really am. Asmon, brother, the path ahead is grueling and difficult, and it's going to be brutal for you. It's going to be painful. You're going to suffer a lot. But you're choosing to suffer now instead of suffering later. It's a really, really good thing. Sort of have no proof. He's getting like $1 million contracts from sites like Kick right now. Yeah, he makes really good money. And that is 100% true. He's made a lot of money. Like, he could retire if he wanted to. He has the money to retire easily. And the fact that this does not seem to be a relevant factor. He knows that this is not about money. He knows that the money is completely irrelevant right now if the person wielding it is not worthy of it. So, his apology and message will only matter in hindsight if he sticks to it. Exactly. Makes a positive change, and no matter a lot if he does not, it'll be just another meaningless video. Exactly. That's why I'm saying I'm looking forward to how this man will look in a year. He has realized that the best apology is changed behavior. He is pledging a lot of these things, which I do believe this is a mistake. You don't tell people about what you're going to do. You tell people what you've done. Because if you tell somebody what you're doing, your brain says, "Ha, you've mentioned it, therefore you already did it," even if you haven't. So, imagine him grow a body like Dwayne Rock Johnson in 5 years. That would be insane, yeah. I feel like he's going to come back from his even more famous and wealthy. I don't think famous and wealthy, but I think this is going to... I do think this is going to improve his life. It might affect his streaming career, but yeah. I could come back to make Dr. Disrespect look sad. He already made himself look sad and pathetic, so it's that's not a very high bar.
I think that I can be a lot better than what I am right now, and I don't even think that I've been putting in half the effort that I should be in the way that I should be, and I'm sorry. And so my plan is to, when I get unbanned, I'll keep streaming regularly, right? And I want to focus more on trying to do things that are fun, trying to laugh more with people rather than at people.
Good.
I'll still laugh at people every once in a while, okay? Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But
good, he's recognized
it's about
it.
a focus, and it's about a tone.
That'd be
I listen
hilarious,
to my
yeah.
tone in the clip, and I just sound like such a piece of shit. Really, at the end
He sounded
of the day,
very
I sound
bitter,
like a
yeah.
piece of shit. I sound like a terrible person, and it's just
Maybe later,
so
this is fucking weird, yeah.
mean-spirited and callous and just mean. And I don't want to be that person anymore. And
I want to hear that again.
mean. And I don't want to be that person anymore.
You heard that. You heard how he said that. The amount of pain when those words came out of his mouth. Very indicative that this man has woken up. Brother Doctor fucked up bad. Might be legal. Okay, never use the law as the barometer. The law is there to be the absolute bare minimum. You should never, ever base yourself, make a moral judgment on whether something is legal or not. 31 is, dude, in Hungary it's 14. I'm not joking. Realizing he became a mean and genuine asshole instead of pretend one probably hit him hard. Yeah. And the pain that he said, like, you heard it. You heard it. I don't want to be that kind of person anymore. And the way he just said it shows that it's full of regret. Because it's looking back at the years it's taken at the years of suffering that has inflicted upon him and other people. Because yes, they're just words, but there you go. Let's see. That's what I'm saying. People keep saying Duck made a comeback. He's innocent. No, Duck is not innocent. He is legally not guilty of anything. The man is morally reprehensible. That's why we have moral systems. My favorite quote from Doctor Who: "Good men don't need rules. Rules are for the bad ones." Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things that I grew up with. I was raised to understand that you do what is right. You do what is right. You do what is morally just. You do what is, what your moral compass points to. The rules are there for a reason, and usually the rules are there to establish... She didn't quite say it this way, but the rules are there to enforce a social contract. And the social contract is there because it's the right thing to do. And you do what is right. Not because the rules or the laws dictate, but because it's what is right. Rules are for the outcasts. No, rules are for the lowest common denominator. Yeah. Let's see. We've got 6 minutes left.
I've spent a long time growing up. The time I did, I was an r/atheism enjoyer.
Oh God.
I have a very negative opinion of a lot of religions. I've had the experience firsthand of the negative effects of Christianity and the way that I view that.
Fair.
And I've always read a lot of very bad things about Islam, and I've made a lot of criticisms of it.
Yeah,
I've talked to a lot of people about it. I've heard a lot about it, and I've been like watching things about it, and I've been like hearing people telling me this is the way it is, but I've never seen it. And I actually think that after all...
Okay. Couple of points I want to make here. You've probably never seen much of Islam in real life because you live in Texas. Point one. Point one. Point two. Oh my God, r/atheism. I ventured into that a couple of times, mainly a political subreddit, and I couldn't bring myself to enjoy it anymore. I'm Catholic, and I no. The students are also made to make sense. Even the dumbest people, not all people need all the instructions. What do you have to think of the ones that will need all of them? Yeah, like there's a reason we put warning labels on Tide Pods. And the last point I wanted to make to this of this last little bit about him having a negative opinion about religions, and a lot of people don't understand why so many people would think, okay, if religion is so bad, why are there so many people who are religious? It's the same, in my opinion, it's the same line of thought of, don't forget, there is a legitimate moral reason as to why slavery was around for as long as it was. Because at one point, those were the morally just things to do. The most religions out there that you see, most of the major religions that have millions, billions of followers, are there because they are a way to build life. They are a way to give your life purpose, and they are a way to navigate, to help you navigate through life. Yes, there are a bunch of rules, there are a bunch of restrictions, and there's going to be a lot of bad actors that are going to try to poison it. I don't know about much other religions, but in Catholicism, that is to be expected. That the enemy lurks at every corner, and you have to be wary and vigilant at all times. Because you need to aim to become the most virtuous person you can. Not so that others can see you become virtuous, but that you yourself can be virtuous. And that your virtue can become contagious. Not by you saying or showing, but by you being. 0.39% to call themselves Muslims, never read the Quran from the first page to last. Probably, yeah. Yeah. So the difference between Muslim people living in New York and Muslim people living in small village Afghanistan. We had this conversation, not you and I, but we used to have this conversation in 2015. We call those cultural Muslims. Yeah, it's very different. It's very different. Same like with the black activists when they encounter an African for the first time, like an actual African. You have You have your college, Ivy League, went to Harvard, blacktivist from Minnesota encounter an Ethiopian. Oh, those are funny encounters, dude. Those are hilarious. So yeah, and there is a lot of that. Yes, religions are intended. They're invented because there is no security cameras or well-made laws. Believe us an easy way to gain power and keep orders at the lower ranks of society. And you see that kind of cynical view. That kind of cynical view breaks apart, because then by that logic, if that is the only reason why religions exist, only for people to gain power, the systems would have collapsed, because corrupt systems do not last very long. We see that all the time. Corruption doesn't last much. Because the moment the first generation of corruption ends, the thing starts tumbling down. The truth is, a lot of religions are there because they instill a sense of community on people. They give them, yes, we can argue the veracity of the stories. We can argue about the morality of the stories, about all this kind of stuff. But the religions are there to bring people together and to help people build community, build their lives, guide them their ways around. There are corrupt elements within it. I'm not going to deny that. But if that was the cause of the religions, we would not see those religions anymore. They would have collapsed a long time ago, as every corrupt system that has existed has collapsed. Not saying religions are 100% bad. It's an easy way to teach people what the true way is. Yeah, and I completely understand that. But there are a lot of people that make the reductionist perspective that religion is only there so that the tippy top can have power and wealth and control a bunch of people, when in reality it's not that. And I can tell you, because I've been part of many religious communities, and very, very rarely was it about giving money to the priest. Like, of course, you don't have televangelists who do that, and their churches don't last long after the televangelist dies or retires, because then people see through the corruption. But the churches I was in back in Guatemala, the ones that I went to with my mom, beautiful communities. Absolutely wonderful, beautiful communities. And everything was about the local community and building that local community. And it was a beautiful thing. As conspiracy theory, if you put the main reason why religions exist. There's a difference between how people in power view religion and how people in the lower social status see them. For your normal people, it is something that keeps them up because they have a little more than gives them hope. Yes, but then goes back to my point. If it is just a conspiracy by the wealthy and the powerful, then every single religion would have collapsed by now. Every single one. Because corrupt systems do not last very long, a couple of 100 years at most. And then they collapse, religious or not. Because we've seen that, and we see that all the time. Bad cults, bad religions die off all the time once the corruption is revealed. And that's not what we see with major religions like Christianity, like Islam, like Buddhism, Brahmanism, all of these religions that focus on the person. There's that about them. We have the minor sects that do die off. We have the corruption that dies off. We've had how many iterations of corrupt Islam that keeps dying off? It keeps making a comeback, but it always dies off. And it's not because it's Islam, but because it's corruption. It's not because it's Christianity, but because it's corruption. The religions have very, very little to do. Being religious does not make you stupid or ignorant. Being atheist doesn't make you smart or right. I've been in many cults during my youth. People want to believe and are afraid of getting deleted forever when they die. Yeah, that is a horrifying thing. Yeah, not knowing what is after life. Yeah, psychological society is much more complex and requires a deep dive. Oh, it's a very deep dive. Yeah, and because of course there's the whole we simply don't know. We simply do not know. So yeah, that sense of hope is very good. 5 more minutes. Come on.
This. I think towards the end of next year, I think I'd like to visit the Middle East and see it for myself.
Oh yeah, this is where he mentions, right?
I want to see it for a historical
Protestant
perspective,
Christians,
right?
people
I
all
would
the time.
love to go to Istanbul in Turkey.
Yeah.
There's no ulterior motive there at all. But it's not
That's what
just
Taylor
that.
was saying.
I'd love to visit places like Saudi Arabia, Dubai, any of the other places. I mean, the truth is that, and this is the worst thing about what I said, some of the places that I would want to visit,
Turkey is
I might not be
overwhelmingly
able to because of the
culturally
way that
Islamic,
they're
yeah.
like just the internal strife
just
of
not
actual
a
literal wars
theocracy.
that are going on, people being literally killed there, and I might not be able to do that. But I want to do it.
Yeah,
and I
don't go
wanna
to
see
Syria,
it
dude.
for
Don't go to
myself.
Afghanistan.
Because
Bad idea.
I don't like believing what people tell me. And I think that when I do, I end up being a fool. And I want to see it. I want to see it for myself, and I want
to address that. The reason why we have Protestant Christian is because the people of the time seen the church absolutely corrupted the Catholic Church, yes. And the corruption got weeded out of the Catholic Church. And the corruption has been weeded out many times in Protestant Christianity, and we continue seeing that. But it was a very well-founded set of concerns. And nowadays, we just have the different sects of Christianity, and then you have the unified Catholic and Orthodox churches, who are two separate things. But yeah. Yeah, and at that time, it was the corruption within the religion and not the religion itself. Which is, goes back to my point that is usually not the set of beliefs themselves, but the corruption within them. And there are some that are created out of corruption itself that don't last very long. 4 more minutes.
to experience it, and I want to live my life. And I'm going to try to, like, I don't know, like, clean up part of my house. I'm going to try to do this, and I'm not going to hire a cleaner. As I said,
fuck off, do it.
Roman Catholic. I view this as a penance. And
okay, fine. He has a good point there.
I think I need to do this for myself. I need to take accountability for bad things that I've done,
okay,
and for letting my life get this out of control. And I don't need a get out of jail free card. So
organizations that are corrupt, not the religion itself. Exactly.
And for my own closure as well.
Stream the cleanup, God no.
I think also. I
only if he wears a maid outfit.
The idiots out there that they're like looking to me to be a
Darroch,
right?
welcome to today. How you doing?
A good idea.
We're going through his apology video.
There are people that will see that and they'll think maybe to themselves, maybe I should do the same thing.
Yeah, that's one. God damn it!
And
I did not want to be right.
For one person, well, I've already done it for myself. I've already done a good thing, and so it could only get better. And so that's what my plan is. I'm going to try to like rethink my life. I have had a lot of people reach out to me. People I would have never expected reach out to me in ways that I never expected. And
from the Emiro
I understand that,
right.
I'm right. Still very critical
I don't keep up with the others either.
Religious fundamentalism, right? But when you paint with such a broad brush that you just include an entire group of people, you're just being you're being a piece of shit. It's like people said it was racist. I didn't mean it as racist, but if you listen to what I said,
I'm gonna watch it, yeah. I'm gonna upload it, yeah.
So easy. And so I'm just a fucking idiot. I'm a fucking moron. I've been an asshole. I think that I've devolved for the last 2 years. I think that I've negatively affected other people too, in ways that I hate. I don't even hate to say this. Like I think I need to say this. I need to say it more. I've negatively affected people in ways that I regret.
Okay, so first thing, there was a very, very wise man who once said, "The only thing I know is that I know nothing." He is recognizing his flaws. He's recognizing them in a very, very deep way. And I understand the sentiment of I hate saying this, because what you're saying is painful, because you're recognizing something that has caused a lot of harm. We are seeing this man evolve. We are seeing this man evolve in front of our eyes. Let's see if this catalyst is strong enough. I do think he has the willpower to do this, and that he is going to suffer through it. I do think he's going to. And if there's one thing I've learned throughout my life, is that sometimes you need to go through hell. Because it is through the path of hell that you can make it all the way to purgatory. And sometimes the only way out is through. And then another thing I say is that those who experience the depths of hell learn to appreciate the heights of heaven. And I think this is what this man is going to start doing. He's going to launch himself into the hell that he created for himself. Because this man has been spiraling downwards in ways that we don't even know. We just see what he puts on camera. And this was just the catalyst. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. And now it's time for healing. And that is going to be a very painful process, because it always is. Because in order to grow, you have to break out of the mold you were in first. I'll need all those things because I'm coming on autoplay shorts that I have. Oh, okay, there you go. Gotta hit the bottom, started going back up. Yeah, and thankfully, I am glad that this is the bottom for him. And I hope this is the worst of his life. I would not want it to be something worse for him, and I am glad that he is seeing this and that he's at least declaring that he's going to turn things around. This is I admire this, and I really, really hope I support this 100%. The healing journey a lot of the times is necessary, and it's a very painful journey to partake in, man. I've done it. It took me about 10 years, broken marriage. Took me a lot to heal out of the things I needed to heal out, and I think I'm still not done in a few things. It's worth it, man. It's worth it. It's very worth it. All right, 2 more minutes. Fuck.
I think whenever I go back live again, I'll probably talk about that more, and, like, there's some just different people I kind of want to apologize to and, take accountability for things that I've said and done that have negatively affected other people in ways that were unfair and wrong. And that's what my plan is. That's about it. I want to say that I hope that now, after you've heard what I have to say, that a lot of you all can see kind of why I'm saying that I appreciate this. I really think that this is something I needed, and I hope that this is the next part of the rest of my life. And I want you guys to hold me accountable to that. So if I'm being a fucking asshole again, if I'm being mean, if I'm just being callous, acting like a psychopath, just treating people awfully outside of a WoW raid when they get killed by fire, but really laughing at people's misfortune, try to say, man, just chill the fuck out, stop it. Just stop. And I'm gonna do my best to listen. I spent 2 years ignoring it, and look where it got me.
I think it's more than 2 years.
This is not even the tip of the iceberg of the problems in my life.
You see, that's what I said.
And I want to thank everybody for making me aware that that's the case. And hopefully I can avoid the iceberg, right? And so I want to say that's pretty much about all I've got. I'm sorry for a lot of people I let down, not just with comments like this, but also just with the way I've been doing things in general. I think that you guys deserve a much better version of me than what you've been getting. And I hope that I can live up to that in the future. And I don't even want to think about it in the future, right? As soon as I get unbanned, the best apology is better content, change behavior. And that's what I hope to do. So yeah, Good. Anyway, guys, I'm just going to focus on myself for a while, try to improve my own life. And there's a lot of things I think, again, I'll probably talk about more whenever I go live again that are like more kind of, just like kind of in the weeds, like personal stuff. But overall, that's the big picture. That's where I'm at. And so anyway, that's about all I've got. And I'll see you guys soon. I'm going to try to just take this time off to, really kind of fix my shit. So yeah, anyway, guys, that's about it. I'll see you later. Bye.
All right, so first things first, is going to take more than 14 days, of course. But I do like that he's done this. This is the best apology video I think we've ever seen in the history of YouTube. At least from somebody of the size of Asmongold. He has addressed things directly. Deviluna, welcome to today. How you doing? He has addressed everything directly. He has taken it head on. He is observed that the best apology is changed behavior. And the fact that he's pledged to it, as I said before, it's going to be a painful journey, man. Asmod, you're about to have a very painful journey ahead of you. because you need to start weeding out everything that led you here. You're not looking at an iceberg, man. You are looking at an overgrown maze. You are looking at a labyrinth where once was supposed to be a garden. And you need to start taking those weeds out one by one. If there's one thing I would recommend to Asmongold, get yourself a therapist for this. Because you have a clear goal in mind. There are a lot of things you want to work on. It's going to be difficult. And you're going to need somebody qualified to be able to be like, you're going to need to do this. Either a therapist, or in the religious communities you would say, like, just go get advice from a priest. Go get advice from somebody who is wiser than you. So your dad might be a good idea to keep in very close touch during this time. I would recommend a therapist for the psychological things. Some mushrooms would do. Absolutely not. So I'm going to read Jeppy's in a second. But in all seriousness, I completely understand what he's saying. I completely empathize because I've gone through my share of hell in that sense as well. A hell that I set up for myself. You see, like my song, my song on that upper corner. Yeah, that's going to be, that tells the start of things for myself. And I think it's some songs that I'm doing. It's not a shameless plug. It goes somewhere, I promise. Lyrics for the chorus of my song. Through the depths of hell, through the pain and suffering, heaven seemed so far away. And that's how it's going to feel. That's how the healing journey feels. So bright and beautiful, a life worth living. You have a clear goal in mind, man. You have a clear goal in mind. But before you get there, you're going to have to crawl. You're going to have to crouch down, crawl, and clean up a lot of stuff. And that is going to hurt. And it's going to hurt a lot. And it's 100% worth it. I don't know his situation. I cannot tell you it's going to get better, because I don't know that. But what I can tell you is that it can. So, there you go. Thing is, people have been telling him about this chat for a while, but he kind of purged those more empathetic viewers, because whenever they spoke out, tells them now ban. Yeah, he would ban a lot of people. We saw that. We saw that a lot as well. It was a bad choice, but then it goes back to the whole, it's very difficult to discern tone in a text message. And the problem is, when you are a streamer the size of somebody like Asmongold, and you are not used to giving people the benefit of the doubt, it's very easy to see somebody coming with a kind-hearted and honest and thoughtful message, and see it as sarcasm, as mean-spirited sarcasm. We love how you talk. Thank you very much. I've spent the past 10 years crafting how I talk, how I speak. It's not to say that it's fake. It's to say that I have this way of speaking whenever I want to be clear and whenever I want to make sure that my message comes across. And yes, it's very difficult to discern. Emotes help a lot nowadays because it actually gives a little bit of an indicator for tone. And I am a big fan of emotes because of that. Because you can tell a lot better. Because if you give a message and you put the laughing emoji next to it, you can tell that the message is intended to be humorous. I am a firm believer that we should start using emotes a little bit more to make up for that lack of tone that you don't get in texts, that you get in texts. And I personally am somebody who really try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I really try and see things from other people's perspectives. I make a big effort to try and understand, why would somebody think this? Why would somebody behave this way? Why we spent a good chunk of this conversation, this video, because this is going to be a video, going through the reasoning as to why Asmongold would say what he said, why religions would exist the way they do, why. I do that a lot, and that's not to put up a show or to make content or anything like that. It is genuinely how I feel. Whenever I see something happening, I want to get in the mindset of the people. I want to understand people. Many people forget that empathy is not putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, is thinking, how is this person wearing those shoes? What is the brain of this person thinking? And that's one of the things that people fail to understand a lot, because a lot of the times it's a lot easier, right? When you are trying to empathize with somebody, something happens to a person, therefore you want to put yourself in that situation. You want to imagine yourself. You don't put yourself in a situation where something happens to you. Nothing bad, at least. I digress. But if something bad happens to another person, the way a lot of people will empathize, which is completely natural, is that you would imagine what it would be like if that had happened to you. But then the mistake that a lot of people make is that whenever they see somebody do something that they disagree with or don't understand, they try that same process instead of what led to that. What was the thought process behind these things? What happened there? And I think this happens a lot, especially with streamers and with content creators. It's very difficult, especially when you are bombarded with message upon chatter upon just all sorts of mixed things between a lot of people, most of whom didn't bother listening carefully or even attentively to what you had to say. And they will try to argue against a caricature that they made up in their minds of what you said. It's very difficult to discern what those are from what those who are genuinely going in conversation versus those who are trying to misinterpret you, mislead you, degrade you, and all things else. It's very difficult, damn near impossible, especially when you get bombarded in chat. Am I justifying his actions? No. But I think I'm trying to explain. And a lot of people make the mistake that explaining something and explaining why something happened therefore means that you endorse it. No, I'm just trying to understand. So there you go. That's our outlook on Asmon's video. I'm going to make a note about 1 hour 45 minutes. Jesus Christ, we spent like an hour and a half going through this, man. Holy shit. Okay, this is gonna go on YouTube. And I highly doubt that Asmon is gonna watch a 1.5 hour video of me reacting to his apology. But in short, best apology video I've ever seen. It's gonna be a tough journey. DM him the link. Jesus Christ, no. It's going to be a tough journey. And get your friends, man. Get your best friends, get your dad on this, and get a therapist to help you with this. Or somebody along those lines that can help you navigate through this, because it's going to be a very difficult time in your life, and this is likely going to take years to fully heal. If you pull it off, it's going to be worth it. There's someone's train of thought and justifying the actions are different things. Yep. I can understand the feelings of a train of thought. People in Gaza or North Israel, while not justifying many of the actions of both sides. Exactly. Anyway, that's our thing with Asmon. Let me just switch over to this view so that I can clean up the thing. Yeah, I thought it was going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to watch the video and then for like 20 minutes we're going to discuss, and then it turned out into an hour and a half.